Hey everybody, Texas Stroker here, Lance's Performance Shop, LoneStarMopars.com. This video is kind of a hodgepodge. It could fit in a lot of different categories. It could be part of the Ram Revival, it could be part of future build series, or it could just be standalone, and I think that's kind of what we're going to do here. That way I don't have to, crank this out every single time. But what we're going to do is take a look at this mess right here. And what we have, pretty good chunk of some stainless steel hardware. So this came from a place called Alloy Boltz. I'm guessing they probably got their start with motorcycles. People wanting stainless fasteners, some upgraded over factory, dress up their Harleys, so on and so forth. And it just kind of evolved from there. A lot of times you have overlap. A guy that might be super into his Harley might also have, a Pride and Joy 69 Camaro. God bless his little soul. But, it's one of those things, if you're taking things to that level, if you're rebuilding, if you're restoring, if you're improving, it's sort of across the board, regardless of what sort of, motorsports you're into, whether it's 4 wheels, 2 wheels, or anything in between, even on the water or in the sky, right? So that's sort of, a way to expand, whether you started automotive-based or motorcycle-based. And that's probably what they did. I think they're based out of Florida. You can find them direct from their website or eBay, whichever you prefer. And my immediate need was right here. What we have is I just went for the full kit. Spoiler alert, if you do just need like one specific thing, you can email them, you can call them, whatever. Tell them what it is, they will probably sell it to you. For example, if you just needed like the accessory bracket bolts, you could do that, right? If you just need valve cover bolts, you can do that. They're very, seem to be very flexible in what they do, or you can just get the whole kit. That's what I did. Again, my unique situation with the truck, pulled the 5.2, it's technically mint, changed some freeze plugs, put a new water pump, it's good to go, right? So I'm trying to keep it intact. Therefore, a lot of the bolts and hardware I don't want to harvest, because I would have a running engine I could literally drop in something or just have ready to go should the 408 spill. That said, with the 408 not having everything to rob, I kind of need to, have my bases covered. What I really, really wanted from this, in my case, was the front accessory bracket bolts. The catch is there are some weird sizes, some offbeat lengths, if you will. Nothing like, one-off type of production deals, just my local supplier doesn't stock them. Now, that said, could my local supplier get them in? Yes. Would they get them in one at a time for me? No. And when I need like 2, 4.5-inch bolts, I don't really want 98 more, if you kind of follow my drift there. So it's not something, I could sell them to other people, but that would take a really long time too. So this is what I decided to do. There are a couple other odds and ends I thought would be nice, so I just sprung for the whole kit. Since I was there, I'm the type of person I would almost rather just stick my order together, plan for the future if funds allow. So while this is 5.2, 5.9 Magnum based stuff, right here I've got 383, 440 stuff, right? So we're sort of, 90s, 2000s, and we're 60s and 70s here. So this is something, again, I may not use everything. I might not use hardly any of it, but I'll have it, and I'll be ready to go. I've got quite a few 440s strung out across the place. The other thing I did, I kind of bought some couple of odds and ends, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to pull this off. It's just sort of like a little instructional sheet. They want you to use antices, practice with everything. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see here. Torque chart provided below. Okay, fold it out. There it is. I'm like, there's no torque chart here. So yeah, that's kind of actually a nice little pocket reference for people. Most people don't have this off the top of their heads. If you don't have a factory service manual, or you're just like, man, I'm gonna have to like jump from cooling system for the water pump, to engine hardware, to routine maintenance for this and that, it's just kind of, this is a general guideline. It's always best to consult and go by factory standards, but run-of-the-mill, just, I want this torqued correctly, not over-torqued, probably fine with this. So kind of a neat little perk there, no charge. And again, if you have any issues, contact them. That's kind of what that cliff notes on that thing would be. The other thing that was cool, another item that I cannot source locally. You know, I could come in and I could have them get, you know, the long stainless bolts that they don't stock, and I'd have 98 extras or whatever the minimum quantity was. Stuff like this though, hex head, torque head, you know, I shouldn't say hex head, I mean basically, you know, like an Allen bolt, if you will, cap screw, whatever you want to call it. Torque stuff, you know, that's the type of thing, like they don't sell it. You know, people in construction, people, you know, plumbers, electricians, you know, new houses, you know, industrial stuff, like people, that's not common, you know. If it's common, they've got it. If it's not common, they don't. And so when you step into like Torx, and I'm outside the realm of like a deck and, you know, a screw that we're going to shoot into said deck, you know, and you start wanting like machine screws with hex, or Torx heads, I should say, that's when, again, they're going to be like, well, I can get it, but, you know, you need to buy at least this many. And again, it's one of those weird deals. So what I did, some of these right here, I'm actually going to see if I can use on the factory throttle body to get the map sensor connected. And I don't remember all the math. I think these people had like a 40 and a 50 maybe, and then I think the factory one was like 45 millimeter, and, you know, of course I can bush it out with washers or whatever. Also, they sell ARP bolts. That's kind of a big deal. So these that you kind of see here that look fancier than the others, those would be Mopar Starter Bolts, which that's wide range of applications, you know, pre-modern Hemi. This stuff here with the studs, that's actually some valve cover bolts. I should say studs. I can't remember if I went to 440 or Magnum, but anyway, I've got them. And I guess what we will do, this is sort of off in the distance, so we're going to sort of leave it alone. Maybe if we want to reintroduce it at that point in time, we will. But it looks to be a bag with a lot of other bags, right? And it sort of walks you through it, says what everything is. Again, this was just sort of like little add-ons that I did. And so what we will do together is actually, should have grabbed some scissors, my apologies. We will attempt to cut this open and just kind of walk you through the bag so you get a feel for what an engine kit is going to have, right? So, this could take a while. It could go really fast. I don't know, because I've never had it open, so just bear with me here. And this is one of those things I can already tell I will never get that back in this little bag as is, right? So right here we got valve cover bolts. You got short stainless, you got some stainless washers. It's also important, I tell you, they offer a myriad of different options, right? So if you wanted polished fasteners, stainless polish, you can do that. If you wanted indented heads, sort of like, you know, what your OE is going to use a lot of times, you can do that. This is just run-of-the-mill stuff like I would get, you know, or you would buy, you know, at a big box store, Home Depot, Lowe's, all that good stuff. Accessory bracket to idler pulley. We got the flat and the lock, so that's cool. We've got the fuel rails right here. Well, just working with those not long ago. We've got the thermostat housing. I might actually use that, especially if we switch to our fancy billet one. We've got the distributor. The reason the fancy billet thermostat housing is not on the 408s, it was like super back ordered, and so we just had to run, you know, factory replacement type of a deal. This is one of those oddballs, you know, that they don't stock, and it's accessory bracket to the air compressor. So we've got that ready to go. Again, not only the bolts but also the washers, which is cool. We've got the power steering bracket. Again, this is something I want to keep that functionality with the 5.2. So we have got the accessory bracket to the alternator, and again they've got a nut here as well. I think the top stud, I can't remember what they told me because I specifically asked about it. They either include the nut and not the stud, or the stud and not the nut, but I think that may be like the only thing missing. Here is the oil pan. Now the cool thing here, and this isn't always the case, but you know, like I've got the oil pan on the 408, machine shop used what they used. I'm not going to swap out for stainless hardware. That said, if we ever do another Magnum build, we've got it similarly. I can use this stuff, you know, 318, 340, 360, which is pretty cool. Now, right here, this would be tempting. Intake manifold bolts, right? The thing is, they would stand out against the aluminum. I think we're going to stick with the indented head. If they start to flash rust or look bad, this becomes something we may consider. Because again, with the Hughes prepped air gap, we essentially have a lot better of a sight line at these manifold bolts. With a kegger, you almost don't even see where it attaches, right? These look like something I was needing, and they are the water pump to timing cover bolts right there. Again, really nice the way they do this. I don't do much with plastic bags like this, but I'm assuming, you know, it's like vacuum formed and they must have some way of dividing it, but it's not like you're just getting a bunch of crud in like a Ziploc bag, so that at least makes you feel good. And then right here, accessory bracket to timing cover and block. Again, these are some of the bolts that I was actually needing to source, so that gives you an idea though. It's pretty comprehensive. Obviously you don't have like internals in here, right? So we don't have anything on the inside like your rod bolts or anything like that, but pretty much anything I think on the outside we have covered. Again, you know, we've got our accessory stuff. You got your water pump, your intake, your oil pan, another bracket, power steering bracket, air compressor, distributor, which I could actually might use that one too. Easy upgrade as long as we don't rotate anything. Thermostat housing, fuel rails, again our idler, valve covers, and that's it. And I mean, I think the price point, I will have that down below for your convenience. Again, I make nothing off of that. It's just literally there in case you want to click it, so you can either get to the site and plug in what you need for whatever your project is, or go straight to this. And I want to say, depending on your options, it's like 35, maybe jump into like 80-ish or so if you wind up with you know, stainless poly stuff. But let's go ahead and crack this open as well. There's the knife. And I'm going to leave that one together though, the 383 440 stuff, because like I said, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But hey, spoiler alert, maybe that's something for you to look forward to, right? So right here, they did not spec out what this was. It might actually work for either, but anyway, it's either a small block or big block Chrysler, and essentially we've got stainless studs, and then we have a flat, and then you would have kind of your serrated crown coming down, which is also stainless. If you dress your engine up and you get like a trick, really cool valve covers, especially if they're the Mopar Performance black crinkle, you know, or a black anodized, whatever, and you run grade 5 fasteners, that crud's going to flash rust. It may not happen immediately, it might take a while, but it's going to happen, and it's going to look really, really bad. And this is a way you can eliminate that. Right here, these are the ARP bolts. And again, I know it's not in like official ARP packaging or anything, but if you take a look at the head, you're getting the real deal here. Not sure you can see it super well, but trust me, it says ARP. Like I said, I can use that on a multitude of different projects. And then right here, they've got like a section just like, I can't remember how they worded it, but you know, it's like stainless, miscellaneous stainless fasteners, and you can pick out metric or SAE. That's why I nagged these, and I'm hoping, like I said, I can use them for the map sensor on the throttle body. So this thing right here, if you really, really, really want to see it, let me know whenever we cross that bridge. I'll get it open. Right now, just for my convenience and storage, I want to keep that intact in this bag. And also wanted to make this video because I needed to get this stuff off my floor to get it shelved, sorted, and open some of these up. So that said, again, it was from Alloy Boltz, eBay, their website, whatever you prefer. You can find them there. Again, there's just so many things, you know, and even if you've got like a mom and pop bolt store like I use at work, if there's stuff that they just never sell, they're not going to have it on the shelves, you know, and then it's a deal, absolutely, they could order it, but you know, do you want to go in and have to buy 100 of something when you need 2, right? You know, typically, the way things work, if you go inside, you're not a regular customer even, and I needed like, you know, something reasonable. I'm not saying like, you know, massive, massive expense, but let's say that I needed like a 1/4-20 nut and I wanted it stainless. It's not really worth their time to run a ticket, you know, on that. They'll just give it to you, you know, especially like 1 or a low quantity if you need like 6 or something. Now granted, you come in and you're like, hey, I need 2,000. He's, yeah, you're gonna get billed, but you know, a lot of times what they do to build sort of like goodwill and camaraderie and, you know, spread the word, or, you know, you tell someone in your car club type of a deal, they'll do those sorts of things. But like I said, there's certain things they don't stock, they don't sell, they've never had a demand to have it. You know, like there's some offbeat stuff that only I buy, right? And they know that I'm going to consistently buy it, so they'll stock some for me. And then basically I come in, and as soon as I, you know, order my box of 3,000 rivets, they get another one coming type of a deal, right? So you can build up to that. But again, for stuff like this, how long would these be sitting on their shelf, right? It's daunting for you to have the 98 extras. Think about them, you know, like what are they hoping? Like I show back up and, you know, I've built, you know, 50 408s, you know, across the year for people, and I'm going to buy them all from them. So keep that in mind. And again, check local if you can. But realistically, if you don't have the mom and pop type of a shop where stuff is usually way cheaper, that's something so many people don't understand. You go into Home Depot and you need like 4 bolts, they're going to charge you for them, right? You go into the mom and pop place, they might give them to you, but the other thing, if they didn't give them to you, they're almost always cheaper, you know, especially on hardware stuff. You want grade 8 stuff, whatever the case may be. So if you have something like that readily available, even if it's like geared industrial, you know, give them a call or stop by, and you'll be surprised what you might walk out of there with. But when they can't service you, and this is, again, stuff, this would be nightmares dealing with Home Depot or Lowe's trying to get that found and ordered or whatever, right? So this is a really nice option. Everything comes, and in this case, you see how they did it. You get the giant bag with all the little bags. So if you're coming in, and let's say the machine shop is already, you know, put your front cover on or some other small items, and you just need like the finish out stuff, your accessory bracket, your distributor, your valve covers that you're going to upgrade, whatever. This has you covered. You can go, you can probably sell the stuff to the machine shop, give it to them, trade it with someone, you know, just do what you got to do. It's alloyboltz.com is their website. You can see it on every one of these things. And like I said, my first time dealing with them wasn't too terribly bad, so we'll see how we like everything. I believe this is all, that's something I will for sure open. This one probably. Maybe you can see it. I think everything is 304. That is the case. And again, it's not like you're getting anything crazy, you know, but 304, pretty good stuff. Again, I don't think you're going to be able to see it with that plastic, but just trust me, it's 304. But with that said, I'm going to quit rambling. I got some other stuff I want to do out here, get taken care of. But once more, Alloy Boltz. If you're looking for anything, doesn't matter. If they've got Chrysler stuff, you know, they got GM and Ford covered. I think they had some imports. Obviously, they do quite a few motorcycles. And again, if it's a deal where you locally cannot score what you need, you know, give them a call, and, you know, maybe they'll hook you up instead of, you know, screwing you over. If they stock all this stuff and you need, you know, like 4 to 6 bolts, call them, tell them what you need. Well, you know, maybe you get a good deal, so keep that in mind. But with that said, there's something flying around in here. I'm going to get the brake clean out, see what it is. But hope you enjoyed. Hopefully this lets you know about a company you might not have otherwise been familiar with. And you should see some of this stuff being used in the Ram Revival. 440 stuff will come around eventually, so be on the lookout for those videos. But with that said, I do hope you enjoyed. Hope you have yourself a fantastic week. And with that said, I'll catch you back for more action in the shop. In the meantime, LoneStarMopars.com is the website. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whichever you prefer. And with that said, I gotta go clean some plug wires. Oh man, that is okay. Gotta kill this. I gotta go. I'll catch you back here in just a little bit.